Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Great Scott! There's no crying in baseball!
You better hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
This is where the fun begins.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's right. We're ranking A Working Man. A Working Man is a 2025 American action thriller film that follows Levin Cade, a former Black Ops operative turned construction worker, who is compelled to use his lethal skills to rescue his boss's kidnapped daughter, uncovering a vast criminal conspiracy in the process. Where in the world do I even begin with this movie? I had very low expectations for another Jason Statham run movie. I feel like I had my expectations where they needed to be on what the quality of this movie was, which was the story was not going to be that great, but the action was going to be good. If you're going to watch this movie and enjoy it, you need to have zero standards. Let's get into why with the 10 essential aspects of a movie. First is plot. Does the movie follow a comprehensive story arc and is plausible within a world that has been created? No, not really. It's not plausible within the world. Somewhat. Not that it goes over the top of some of the action or anything, but there's just a lot of decisions made by characters in this movie that just do not make sense. They don't match people in real life and how you think those conversations or those interactions would go. It just is really silly. I would point to it's a lot like Fast and Furious in the way that Fast and Furious has gotten to the point where they're almost playing on the fact that it's unrealistic and that it doesn't really make sense. This movie does that, but just not in as cool of a way. Like, they at least just go overboard. They just said, screw it. If this is what y'all like, we're going to turn it up times 100 and go crazy with it. This is like, insult your intelligence doesn't make sense because you're just like that wasn't even fun. The way you're being unrealistic isn't fun. It's just stupid and it's not really that enjoyable. They also put no effort into the story. The story is so bare bones as like a revenge story, like former soldier rescues boss's daughter because he feels like part of the family because he took him in when he was in a rough time. That's it. That's all you've got to know for the first 45 minutes of this movie. You can just skip to the 45-minute mark and you will miss nothing by hearing the 10 seconds in which I described the plot. It's just super shallow and stereotypical and just doesn't make for it to be that entertaining. Second is attraction. Does the movie have an interesting premise with a high entertainment value? No, dog, it don't. It don't have a good entertainment value at all. If you want to turn your brain off and just watch some goofy action, there's a ton of movies that do it better. However, if you just want to watch every single movie that is that way, then you can go and watch this movie. But the ways in which this movie was trying to be entertaining, there's just a bunch of movies that do it way better. Third is theme. What message or truth is a movie trying to convey? It's not conveying any sort of message. At the least, it's shining some light on the problem of human trafficking and how that kind of happens and how you have to be careful because that's a real thing in this world that is scary, but I don't think that there's necessarily a real message to this movie. Fourth is dialogue. Is there a real feel to the conversations? Absolutely not, dude. This is super corny dialogue, very corny, badass dialogue. Yeah, it just isn't good. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with corny dialogue, right? I'm okay with corny badass one-liners and cheesy action if you just lean into it, right? And there's a point where it's so bad it's good, and then there's a point where a movie just realizes that it is what it is and plays into it and ramps it up for the fun of ramping it up. I'm okay with that. This movie it lies in that middle where it's just terrible because it's not recognizing that it's a terribly cheesy movie and tries to have somewhat of a serious tone at certain parts of the movie, but then has this terrible cheesy dialogue. So it makes it seem like you have no idea what you're doing because this is terrible quality on what you're trying to make serious and good. It just isn't. It doesn't work. The corny badass dialogue isn't even badass. They're not even badass lines, and they're not even delivered that well. They're not even delivered with like a passion or something to be like, yeah, okay, that was kind of cool. Might have been cheesy, but it was kind of cool. No, dude, it's just straight up cheesy and hard to watch. Fifth is acting. Are the characters convincing? I mean, what do you think? No. Of course I'm going to say no. It's not. They're not. The acting's not good in this movie. The only person I even expected to have decent acting was Jason Statham. And he doesn't even do it. He just got to check, man. He doesn't even try that hard. It's not that good. He doesn't do anything great. It's just like bad for his standard as well. And his standard is not high. Yeah, there's nothing really good to say. 6 is cinematography. Is there a creative use of lighting, setting, and wardrobe to convey emotion? I had low expectations for this movie. The only thing I had expectations was, okay, it's going to have at least decent action. I mean, that's the whole purpose of this movie. The revenge story, whatever. The story's probably not going to be that good, but the action is going to be good, right? Not at all. Not even close, honestly. And I don't know if maybe I'm just not into action movies as much as I thought, but I didn't think the fights were good in this movie, and there's not that much action. This movie should have been pumped full of action after like the first 40 minutes or 30 minutes that you set up the story. Once he starts getting on his revenge tour, it should just be purely action in this movie. It's not. There's very little action scenes, and they're not very good. They're not that exciting. They're not even really creative. The ways in which he fights and does things isn't creative. The whole like construction aspect of this movie isn't present. The whole like military aspect of this movie is just him with a gun. That's it. Everything else is like, he's not that creative. He's a little creative, but not enough to like save how terrible this movie is in other aspects. And also, I don't know why, but this caught my eye in the movie. Hopefully I can find a picture of it to show you. But towards the end of this movie, it like turns to nighttime, and the whole like last act of this movie is at night. The moon is gigantic and a little bit bigger. I probably wouldn't have noticed, but I feel like it is so absurdly big. It's kind of like Batman Arkham Asylum level large, and you have to choose to do that. You, as a director, you have to choose to make that moon that big, because it just doesn't make sense at all. After seeing how large the moon is, and then I went outside at night, because I watched this movie at night and looked at the moon, I was like, whoa, why? Why did you, like, some of the decisions in this movie make no sense. Why did you choose to make the moon 200 times bigger than it is? It doesn't do anything for the story, and it just looks goofy. There's a lot of decisions cinematically in this movie I don't get. I feel like it was just so lazily put together, but then there's decisions like that where they feel like they were done on purpose, and I have no idea why. 7th is editing, and this is all about the pace of the movie. The movie is 1 hour and 56 minutes long. Way too freaking long. Way too long for the quality of this movie. Honestly, even an action movie like this, a revenge movie, should not be over 1 hour 40. But just come on. 1 hour 56 was way too long. There's so much of this movie that could have been cut out. There's storylines in this movie that I did not care about at all. This movie should have been at just 1 hour 30 at most. 8th is soundtrack. Normally there's nothing to say about soundtrack, but weirdly enough, in this movie of all movies, I kind of liked some of the soundtrack. It definitely had like a unique soundtrack for an action movie, and it kind of worked, but it didn't. It didn't because the movie was just not a good movie. There's so much of it that sucks. But it was different enough and unique enough that I noticed it, and I didn't mind it, and it probably would have been good if it just would have been complemented by other aspects of the movie. 9th is directing. Now I feel the director is in charge of the previous 8 aspects. They're the ones that have to put it all together, give it their stamp of approval, and make a good movie. Now the director of this movie is David Ayer, and this is his 10th movie. The 10 movies he's directed so far are Harsh Times, Street Kings, End of Watch, Fury, Suicide Squad, Bright, The Tax Collector, The Beekeeper, and finally, A Working Man. I do have a review on Fury, so if you're interested in that, go check that out. Otherwise, I've seen Suicide Squad. I haven't seen any of the other movies, and honestly, out of the 3 movies that I've watched, which is usually what I want to give a director, get out of here, man. You just stop directing movies. They are not good enough. Fury definitely had the most potential, but the honest product wasn't as good as it should have been. And this didn't even have like great potential, but again, it's like you didn't even hit what you were supposed to hit, which was the action. There's nothing to praise about this movie, and I feel like that is just such a sin as a director that I can't even give you credit for anything on a movie that I had low expectations for. Yeah, dude, I think it's time to stop directing movies. 10th is Time. Will it stand the test of time? This movie is not getting better with time. Now for the review section. Rotten Tomatoes critics gives it a 51. The audience gives it an 87. And IMDb gives it a 60. 87, I don't know what y'all are on. 87 is crazy. I would love to know the average age of the audience reviews on this movie, because I feel like it's just gotta be older people who have very low standards on movies because they grew up with a fairly low standard of movies, especially action movies. 87 is crazy. Get that out of here. By far the closest is 51. 51. And yeah, even that's high for me. This movie has nothing to praise. It feels like it was just so lazily put together, and the decisions that were made were just weird. It's so bland. The story is so boring. The action isn't even good. The characters are so surface level and stupid. 51 is high. Like, that's crazy to me, because I honestly watch movies and try to find the good things in them, and I just had such a hard time with this movie. Like, maybe I give it like in the 30s, low 40s maybe, just because I know that there's gotta be worse movies as far as just everything's terrible, but then like the production value is also in the gutter. This one, it has some production value in it, so it just has something to base itself on, but then it just didn't go anywhere. Finally, for the rankings for the year of 2025, out of 13 total movies on the entertainment side, it is 13, just below Flight Risk. I can't believe I'm even saying that. I can't believe it's been so quick. I thought Flight Risk was by far going to run away with the worst movie of the year, and we're not even into May, and it's already been beat. Yeah, it's worse than Flight Risk. These are 2 garbage movies. Garbage movies. These are not good. Flight Risk, honestly, the only thing saving it is Mark Wahlberg. His character is kind of like interesting enough. Like, it's something I can give the movie, that I just liked that character. I can't give A Working Man anything on the entertainment side. I did not enjoy this movie, and like, though I can't crap on like a ton of things and say they're just downright terrible. They're just either mediocre or bad, and there's nothing I can say is, well, that was good. There's just nothing, and I just can't believe that. But yeah, that's why it's so far down. Cinematically, out of 13 total movies, it is going to be 12th, just below The Monkey and above Flight Risk. Okay, I got it below The Monkey. Honestly, they're not that close. The Monkey is just a movie that, it's a comedy that didn't land well for me, and I thought the story was really bland, but I definitely think that someone could look at that and enjoy it. I just don't think they executed that well, but they executed well for like a certain group of people. I think objectively, A Working Man did not perform well in any of the ways that it should have. Like, The Monkey, I could say, is probably funny to some people. The deaths in that movie like were over the top, and I think that some people probably find that funny. A Working Man, I don't think anyone finds the action that good in this movie. I think objectively the action is bad. There's probably a few people that find it. there's a few people that find like the good in everything, right? But I think objectively more people would agree that A Working Man's action is worse than the comedy in The Monkey. Now I do have it above Flight Risk, and honestly, it's just because Flight Risk really limited itself with, it just took place on the plane, and the plot was not interesting enough. There just wasn't enough going on. The thing that I can give it praise for is Mark Wahlberg trying with that character. A Working Man has a lot going on. There's a little bit to unravel. A lot going on compared to Flight Risk. There's stuff to unravel. I just think as an art form, it's just a little more complicated, and it does it not necessarily better, but it just represents film better because it is a more complicated movie than what Flight Risk was, which was just so incredibly bland. Now for the decade of the 2020s, out of 49 total movies on the entertainment side, it is going to be 49th, just below Space Jam: A New Legacy. Yeah, again, two garbage movies, but Space Jam, I can give it something for the visuals. Like, I didn't mind the visuals all that much. They were kind of weird at points, but thought there was some effort made, and like you have this whole background of Warner Brothers and all these characters and worlds and stuff. So there's just something there. A Working Man, again, it just has nothing that I can praise for it. Cinematically, out of 49 total movies, it is going to be 47th, just below Space Jam: A New Legacy and above Flight Risk. I got above Flight Risk for the exact same reasons as before. I do have it below Space Jam: A New Legacy. This is, again, for the visual aspect. I do think there was just more effort in the Space Jam. I think in the ways that Space Jam was trying to succeed, it did it a little bit better. Ultimately failed, I think, but just it succeeded more than what A Working Man did for its purpose. All time on the entertainment side, out of 63 total movies, it is going to be 63rd, just below Space Jam: A New Legacy. Yeah, it's last. I think maybe that's just going to be the trend, is every new god-awful movie is going to be the new worst god-awful movie. I don't know. But yeah, it's just so recent on the mind and so terrible that it belongs down there. If you want to interchange these, honestly, whatever. Like, it is just at the bottom of, it is just in the pile of garbage. Cinematically, out of 63 total movies, it is going to be 61st, just below Space Jam: A New Legacy and above Flight Risk. Again, there for the exact same reasons as before. Okay, that's all I've got for A Working Man. The movie's garbage. Do not waste your time watching that movie at all. I legitimately had low expectations, and I just cannot believe that it threw those out the window. And they were already low. If you have seen it, please let me know your opinion. I love it when you guys comment. Tell me, am I being too harsh on this? Like, where are the people that actually enjoyed this movie? I would love to know why you actually enjoyed this movie, or if you agree with me on how terrible this movie is. If you're interested in somebody who does the exact same format as me, then go check out my best friend Bosso Movie Reviews. He does the same thing where he ranks movies based on the same year, decade, and all time. He also does TV shows now, which I think is cool, something I won't ever do. And he also does one concise list, which I think would appeal to some people over my two different lists. But otherwise, make sure to comment a movie you want me to review and subscribe so that you can watch me review that movie. But otherwise, I'm Mr. Majoritarian. Stay classy, San Diego.